2020 is a political revolution. I am going to do everything morally acceptable to win. I will lie, I will cheat, I will steal, because that's morally acceptable in this political environment.
This is Chris Jacks from Our Revolution, a radical left 501c4 organization bent on creating a, quote, political revolution in the United States. Jacks represents the Democratic Party here in Colorado. And Jacks says a Biden administration will be used to advance his political objectives, or else there will be violence.
It's going to take a strategic hit against the 0.1% that's in charge, because that's who it is. It's killing random Nazis in the street, random bootlickers. So you want to do some Versailles shit? You want to do some Antifa shit? You really want to change this country that way with violence? There's only one way to do it. You got to get people that are close to billionaires and start just random billionaires start turning up debt. I mean, Bezos at the top of the list. I do think there needs to be a militant group, and I love Antifa for that reason. I love that there's you always have to have somebody that's willing to hold up the flag and say, no, this is the line in the sand, and we're the ones holding that line. But they ain't stabbing motherfuckers like they used to. They don't have to, though, because they used to stab. See?
Yeah.
And that's all we gotta say. No. Guillotines, motherfucker. That's all you gotta say. Option A, what I'm proposing. Option 2, slicey boys. What are your choices? Which one do you want?
Joe Biden is presumably left-wing, and he's got a functioning signing hand. And as long as there is progressive legislation that comes across his desk, I am confident we can occupy his house. We know where he'll live.
So there you think?
And yeah, he wants to veto Medicare for all. Let him veto it. He's never leaving that house again without protest. Half of the struggle that I have ain't with Republicans. It isn't with the right wing. It's with moderates in the Democratic Party.
They underestimate how many people on the left are organized, trained, armed, and ready to go.
He is someone most Americans should be afraid of.
Half of the struggle that I have ain't with Republicans. It isn't with the right wing. It's with fucking moderates in the Democratic Party. It's with all these people that are just scared of Trump. Oh my God, I'm so scared, I gotta do something. Which is show up and piss off left. And now we're gonna go up against Democrats, who are the world's biggest pussies, who fold all the time.
We've been following Chris Jacks for a long time. We first met him during the presidential primary race. Here's his plan if President Trump is reelected.
I'm going to be in my garage right next to my gun safe all night long on the 3rd, because that is how seriously I take this stuff. No, it's incredibly scary, and like I said, it's going to be, like, at that point, that's when we got to find, like, the John Brown Gun Society people. There's going to be, just look at it's history, right?
Right.
When it comes to Civil War, violence type stuff, there are always military guys, like former guys, that stand up for the right thing. And those are people we got to start talking to.
Yeah.
When that time comes,
And is it what?
when that time comes, then we got to get those type of people involved. I've dealt with bullies my whole life, and it's one of those things. When the bully knows that you're not going to back down, they don't f*** with you. They want to fight somebody weaker. They want to fight somebody who's going to submit. They want to fight they're going to win. They don't want to fight people that are, wearing a plate carrier and carrying an AR.
Right.
They want innocent protesters with, rocks and, skateboards. That's who they want to fight. If it comes down to that, hell yeah, man. Let's go free the people in ICE and give them the guns. Be like, here you go. Stand up.
Yeah.
You got a grudge. Let's go do it.
He was just as radical when we met him the first time months ago.
I want to make this point very loudly and very clearly. I said it nicely before, but I'll say it more curtly now. 2020 is a political revolution. I am going to do everything morally acceptable to win. I will lie, I will cheat, I will steal because that's morally acceptable in this political environment. Absolutely. We are pirates on a pirate ship, and we have a bright future ahead of us, or we have Mad Max. I don't want to, I got an awesome war rig, but I don't want to be driving around the apocalyptic wasteland. Let's bring in a better future, and I will knock people down the stairs as long as they don't die to make this happen.
This was taped last January, and just 2 months later, violent riots broke out in the streets and calls to defund the police began. Our undercover cameras recorded Jax talking about justified violence to gain complete political control.
But when I look at everything, I mean, again, I believe there is absolutely justified violence in all sorts of circumstances. And I do think there needs to be a militant group, and I love Antifa for that reason. I love that there's, you always have to have somebody that's willing to hold up the flag and say, no, this is the line in the sand, and we're the ones holding that line.
They're not good at peace and quiet, though.
Yeah, no, they're not. But they ain't stabbing motherfuckers like they used to. They don't have to, though, because they used to stab motherfuckers. See?
Yeah.
And that's all we gotta say. No. Guillotines, motherfucker. That's all you gotta say. Option A, what I'm proposing. Option 2, slicey boys. What are your choices? Which one do you want?
Wait, sorry, what do you mean guillotines?
Just like you said, the unions have power because they used to stab motherfuckers. They used to bury people beneath giant stadium. We have power. Populist uprisings have power because we used to kill people. We used to hang people from gas stations. We used to cut off their heads. So we don't have to actually cut heads. We just have to say that we're willing to cut heads. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants a slicey boy. Nobody wants one of those.
I don't want one.
No, nobody wants that.
So you think saying isn't enough?
I think that the right wing has a monopoly right now on strong, violent rhetoric, and I think they underestimate how many people on the left are organized, trained, armed, and ready to go should they decide to do their shit. And I think all it will take is our numbers and a reminder that, yeah, there's a reason that you guys feared the communists more than you feared the Nazis.
So you think the right wing?
They're a bunch of bitches. They're bitch-ass bootlickers, man.
Who's the people on the left, though?
Doesn't matter. We have the army already. We're going to show up in numbers. We're going to show up in mass. We'll let them know who the lions are, and the sheep will fall in line.
What do you think about like Antifa?
Antifa's great, man. I think that if you're, I think it's, I mean, when you got Charlottesville, dude, when you got people marching in the street, running people over and shit like that, you got people firing guns, trying to provoke shit. Yeah, you need people there that are willing to stand between them and the ordinary people.
Yeah, I like that hit the streets type mentality. You know, it's the
yeah, no, and there are definitely times for it. I just don't think it's. I mean, it's that awesome thing. It's one of those cards you got to have in your back pocket, man. And Martin Luther King wouldn't have been as successful if it wasn't for Malcolm X and, you know, Nation of Islam, Black Panthers, all of them doing their thing too. And there's definitely those people out there. Mm-hmm. But shit, man, they got their shit together. They don't need direction. They know better than we do where the Nazis are going to be and where to fight them. So strategically, yes, I think if you want to do real shit, you got to get close to the people in charge.
What do you mean real shit?
If you want, so you want to do some Versailles shit, you want to do some Antifa shit, you really want to change this country that way with violence. There's only one way to do it. You got to get people that are close to billionaires and start just random billionaires start turning up dead, and nobody knows what. Nobody knows. Well, I don't know. He just turned up dead, and just 3 or 4 of them is all it's going to take. All it's going to take is a pattern of, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. Just showed up that way. I walked in. That's how it is. That's the only way that's do that. You're gonna you do that 3 or 4 people, enough to say that this is a pattern and this is why. Draw a little dollar sign on their desk or whatever you do. That's what's gonna take. It's gonna take a strategic hit against the 0.1% that's in charge, because that's who it is. It's killing random Nazis in the street, random liquors, dude.
But like, who are those like 3 or 4 billionaires right now? Like that, if it went to that,
Doesn't
like,
matter.
Doesn't matter who.
Doesn't matter who. I mean, Bezos at the top of the list.
Who?
Bezos.
Oh.
Jax casually talks about throwing the uber-rich in gulags as a way to get started with resetting the power structure, and not even Obama gets immunity in his nightmare scenario.
No, I mean, if I had my druthers, if I were Supreme Emperor, I would absolutely exile them. Find a nice place for them to be exiled to. All the billionaires, one island, just drop them. Helicopter lands, drops them from not too far off the beach, just enough so it'll hurt, not enough so that it breaks anything, and then you just leave. They just have Greed Island. Greed Island, whatever happens on, we'll put up cameras for pay-per-view purposes. Not even pay-per-view, we'll give it to the people. It's the people's island, man. Give it to them for free.
And so what kind of stuff could we have them do?
Nothing, man. We just watch them, because a bunch of sociopaths, greedy motherfuckers with nothing, that's the best reality. Imagine it, dude. Imagine that show. Bezos and Gates and Obama, all those motherfuckers, everybody you want to exile. W. Cheney with nothing. Just Lord of the Flies, all the evil motherfuckers on an island. It's the best show you've ever seen, man.
Gulag Island.
There you go.
I like Greed Island. But Gulag Island.
The Greed Gulag.
Greed tonight on Fox.
Greed Gulag.
In a recent tweet, Jax blames the DNC for letting the nation burn so they could rule over the ashes. But is murdering people and violence in the streets an appropriate solution? Stay tuned.